Trump means your groceries will be cheaper. I will fix it. It'll be fixed very fast. And America will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than ever before. And we will make America, very importantly, affordable again, because people cannot afford the prices. The prices are too high. My plan will rapidly defeat inflation, quickly bring down prices, and reignite explosive economic growth. We're going to bring prices way down, and we'll get it done fast.
Oops. Never mind. Hi again, everybody. It's now 5 o'clock in New York. Donald Trump made a litany of promises like those to the American people, to his own supporters, to swing voters, frankly, to all of us, that he would be the one who would make things cheaper and make all of our lives easier. He would lower prices. He would drive down inflation. He would drive down the national debt. He would make things more affordable. But the reality is that prices are high and people are struggling more than ever to get by. A lot of that having to do with the crisis he created, tariffs. They're creating major chaos and confusion and adding to higher costs and economic anxiety. Those costs are now expected to go even higher. Take the latest inflation report and analysis from financial experts that came out yesterday. The consumer price index rose 2.7% on an annual basis in July, which was actually unchanged from the month before and less than expected. That's the good news. But about the report, CNBC finds this, quote, there were worrying signs under the surface, including evidence that Trump administration policies are stoking inflation for certain goods and services, economists said. Those effects will likely become more pronounced later this year, they said. Mark Zandi, chief economist of Moody's, says this, quote, the tariff and immigration effects aren't screaming at us, but they're certainly speaking very loudly. And over the next couple months, they'll start yelling. Not a good sign for the already more than 80% of Americans who are stressed about the price of groceries right now in either a major or minor way. A brand new poll by the Democratic group Emily's List goes deeper into those economic anxieties and finds this, quote, it paints a bleak picture of where Americans are right now. That's according to the group's president, Jessica Mackler. The survey finds this, quote, more than 3/5 of voters believe the economy is not doing well, according to the survey, compared to just 37% who think it is doing well. Voters blame Republicans for the economy, with 70% saying the GOP is more responsible for the economy than Democrats. The Emily's List poll finds that women, many of whom make a lot of the economic decisions in their households, are feeling the brunt of this economic hardship. Quote, 45% of women said they are falling behind or only making enough money to cover day-to-day expenses, while just 34% of men say the same thing. Only 24% of women say they are optimistic that their financial situation will improve over the next year, while 34% of men say the same thing. And this is what those concerns look and sound like.
I refuse to pay $19 for a pack of 96 sharpened pencils. I was totally shocked by that sticker price.
I've had to take on a second job just because everything has gotten so expensive. I always grew up thinking about the stereotypical American dream where you own a house and you have a yard to play in. And I think that dream is dying.
That's where we start the hour with some of our favorite experts and friends. Jessica Mackler is here, the president of Emily's List. Also joining us, former senior advisor to President Biden and Vice President Harris, the former mayor of New Orleans, Mitch Landrieu, is here. Let me read a little bit more from this fantastic poll from Emily's List. You add this, understanding women's circumstances and priorities is essential for Democratic campaigns to succeed in 2026 and beyond, and their votes should not be taken for granted, especially as issues that matter to women, from the economy and costs to health and reproductive care, are central to both family well-being and who women vote for. Jessica, take me through the findings.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nicole, for having me on. As you said, this poll paints a really stark and bleak picture of where Americans are right now. They are suffering under the fallout of this Republican agenda, the chaos, the recklessness. As we talk about tariffs, we talk about the cost of goods going up. But this poll gives us a really much deeper understanding, not just that people are worried about the economy, we've known that for a while, but how their view of their own financial stress interacts with how they view the political landscape and what they're looking for. Almost half of women are saying that they're struggling financially, and that's having a huge impact. They are feeling this much more acutely. And as we know, women reliably make up the majority of the electorate in midterm elections. So responding to their struggles is going to be really critical to Democrats' success in 2026. And we also see in this research that we really have an assignment that has been put upon us by voters to make sure that we're meeting them where they are in their frustrations and their struggles, and that we're offering them bold leadership in response.
Jessica, it feels like if you're the person in your household who does most of the Amazon shopping, who does most of the grocery shopping, who makes the run to Walmart, you are already seeing tariffs. If you have sons or daughters who play sports or dance or do anything extracurricular, things are already more expensive. Do you see a lag in the polls, or is that what's starting to show up, despite the fact that a lot of the analysis from Wall Street is that the pain is still to come?
People are very clearly, and this is reflected in this data, it's also reflected in what we're hearing from people across the country at town halls, at community meetings, on social media. People are very clearly already feeling the pain. But the fact is, it's not a matter of will it get worse, it's when and how. As we're doing back to school shopping, and I count myself among those moms who are figuring out how much those pencils are going to cost. We are really feeling this right here and now, but we know that it is only going to get worse. One of the other pieces of this poll that I found really interesting and is important is just how overwhelmingly voters already blame Republicans for this economy. Nearly 70% of voters say that Republicans are more to blame for this economy than Democrats are. And so we know that voters are already experiencing the pain. We know that they hold Republicans accountable and responsible for that pain. But again, we need to meet them in that and offer them a path forward and really show them that we understand what they're going through.
Laura, Jessica, if I have this wrong, what I heard from one of the women there is they want to, with the opportunity maybe, or the challenge for Democrats, is some of those women want to see Democrats fight harder for their economic standing. Is that another thing to draw from this poll?
I think when we're in a position that we're in right now, where this just vast majority of Americans are feeling this amount of pain, that they are looking for that bold leadership. That is absolutely true. To be successful in 2026, we need to provide that to them. And that really gets at the heart of the work that we do at Emily's List. And I look across the country, we have some great models for what this looks like. Right now in 2025, we are going to have 2 gubernatorial elections in New Jersey and Virginia. And in candidates there, Mikey Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger, respectively, we have some great examples of how you do this, of how you really meet voters in their pain and their frustration and offer them agendas that speak to that. That, I think, is what we need more of going forward. And what we see is that women candidates in particular are uniquely positioned to do this because their lived experiences, their professional experiences are such that voters see that they really understand what their communities are experiencing, what their families are experiencing. That's true of those gubernatorial candidates. It's true of House candidates across the country that we have running to flip that majority in 2026. They really understand what voters are going through, and that's going to be really critically important to being successful in 2026 and beyond.
Mitch, if you look at this poll, I feel like some of the arguments you made on my air ahead of the November election were warning about just this. And I understand we have to be amnesiac. We meet voters where they are. We don't wish for anything bad to happen to anybody. I don't wish anybody economic insecurity ever. I don't wish anybody, regardless of who they voted for, any stress at the grocery store or anywhere else. However, the Trump betrayal on the economy is actually more severe and more rapid than even what folks were warning about. What is your sense of both the political fallout for all Republicans, not just Trump, and the opportunity to fight for men and women and families and everyone feeling this economic stress?
Well, a couple things. First of all, the poll that Emily's list on tracks exactly the work that I did with the Working Class Project. We're still in the midst of it. We're traveling to 21 states. We're doing focus groups and polling. And we're hearing this time and time again, especially from working class women who are as stressed out as they have ever been. Today in New Orleans is the first day back to school, so you can see all the moms and the dads trying to get their kids to school. And I can promise you there were some pain points at the store this weekend when people were getting their back to school supplies and they were shocked by the price. That's when you really start to feel the grocery prices have gone up. The betrayal part of this, and it is true, the election was about who they thought was going to handle the economy. Trump said, I alone can do it. I'm going to get it done. The first day I get in office, everything's going to be beautiful, and we're going to have the big, beautiful bill. But essentially what's happened is he's betrayed them. Inflation has gone up. Costs have gone up. GDP has gone down. The debt has gone up. All of the macro indicators that make people's lives harder have gotten worse for the American public. And the people, especially working class folks and people that are living on the main street, really, really feel it. And so I just think it's incumbent upon Democrats to stay focused on that issue. Donald Trump right now is trying to do everything he can in the world to distract you from the fact that the big, beautiful bill takes critical health care dollars away from women and children, for food, for health care, and gives it to a bunch of rich folks. He doesn't want you to concentrate on that. He doesn't want you to concentrate on Epstein. He doesn't want you to concentrate on the fact that he said he was going to solve the war in Ukraine and he was going to solve the war in Gaza, and none of that has happened. Instead, he's showing up at the Kennedy Center saying, would you please give me an award? So I think people rightly feel betrayed, because here's the thing. Facts and reality are very, very, very stubborn things. And the people that we are supposed to represent on the ground every day feel like a covenant has been broken with them. She said it just a minute ago. The covenant was that if you work hard, if you're going to make enough money to make sure that your kids' lives get better than you. And people feel like that is out of reach. And from my perspective, that's unacceptable. And so elected officials, Democrats, got to focus on that particular issue day after day after day. And if people know that you care about them and you put forth proposals that are going to impact their lives, reduce their housing costs, reduce their grocery bills, and they think that you're fighting for them, they're going to come back, because Trump definitely betrayed them. There's no question about that. They know it, they feel it, and they're not happy about it at all.